So after spending the last 7 years in Los Angeles, I'm actually considering the move outside of California, joining many others through the California exodus. And I'm going to give my perspective as a 32-year-old Asian American who's an entrepreneur as well. And so in today's video, we're going to break down the exact reasons why I'm leaving California. Stay tuned. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kevin. I'm a former pharmacist, YouTuber, and entrepreneurial guide, not guru. And on this channel, we talk about the people, the strategies, the tools to help us live a happier, more productive, kick-ass life as well. On this channel, I share my insights on productivity, personal development, and entrepreneurship. But today, we are going to be talking about why I'm actually considering and most likely leaving California. So when I first came to California, I was 25 years old. Back in the day, I had luscious hair, and it was the new thing where everybody from my hometown, from Boston, would jump over to California as well. People would either go to New York, California, San Francisco. Those were the three major places that people went. And when I first went, it felt like an adventure. It felt like adult Disneyland. I got so many opportunities. For example, I got to live in a YouTube home with all my friends. I got my first six-figure job working in crazy West Hollywood, got to see a lot of celebrities there as a pharmacist. And I also got to train at the legendary 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu from Eddie Bravo himself. But over the years, I started getting bogged down with the normal California lifestyle. You know, all the headaches of California. High taxes, high cost of living, traffic, and more traffic. But in my opinion, it was worth it. I never faced the whole people in California are fake type of people. For the most part, I met such cool people during my time in California, and I felt super, super happy. But that all changed when COVID 2020 kind of hit. While I was in California, I actually, earlier that 2020, I downsized my apartment to a 300 square foot apartment. I figured at that time, like, I'm never really home, so what's the point of getting a really nice apartment? But when the lockdowns happened, that apartment became like my prison. No lie, felt like jail. I didn't have jujitsu, I didn't have the gym, and there went the health outlet for myself. I had no interaction with my friends, and I had to break up with my previous relationship. So that was kind of screwed. Financially, I lost my clients for high ticket sales, so that tanked as well, all at the same time. And as I was going through all this, my mom was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So for the last 7 months, I'm actually shooting this as my last video in Boston, but I had to fly back to Boston and take care of my mom. So in order to fulfill my promise to my dad of taking care of my mom, being a healthcare provider, I had to fly back home and just take care of her end of life documents and just take care of her recovery with my brother. And after spending these 7 months in Boston, I kind of remembered what a simple life was all about. I really enjoyed going out to dinner with my friends. I could go to New York City in just 3 hours and visit them over there too. I could go out to lunch with my mom. I could actually work out in a normal gym again. And most of all, I just had the peace of mind, something that I didn't really get in California anymore. During these 7 months, I've been paying rent, and I was planning to go back to stay until I got a text from my landlord, and he said that his sons were coming back into his house and he wasn't renewing my lease. So at that point, I started asking myself, what am I going to do now? Where am I going to go? What about the goals I set for this year? And more importantly, is it still worth it to stick around in California? So maybe your situation is a lot like myself. Maybe you're paying high taxes and wondering, hey, is it worth it to stay in California? The truth is, California's a crazy place. We have crazy traffic. We've been having a lot of protests and political activity here. Also, there's the big hypocrite of our governor as well, going to the French Laundry restaurant and with lobbyists, which is kind of like a big signal of how corrupt our government is. And with everything still being on lockdown, is it really worth it to stay here? And so whether you're considering a temporary move or permanent move, these were the thoughts that were going through my head. There were so many things to keep in track when dealing with the move or not. And so here were the most important things to me. So let's dive into it. So one of the first thoughts that came to mind was like, hey, where do I go? If I'm not going to be in California, what are my options? And one of my first thoughts was like, man, I could go back to Boston and live with my mom. I could go to Vegas and live with my uncle, or I could just get another apartment in Las Vegas or consider a move somewhere else. But the truth was, I was getting a lot of anxiety about thinking about the long term, right? And the truth is, I love my friends in Los Angeles. I have such great friends, a great network. And it's kind of like been my second home. It's like where I go to just focus on the hustle. And there's something so magical about this city where I meet such unique people in here too. But I'm not gonna lie, over the last few years, it's been getting kind of old for me. It's becoming a little bit repetitive, and all these headaches of like traffic and stuff, I started asking myself, is it worth it? And with all the other COVID stuff happening, it just started making it worse and worse. And so I was just thinking, maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to go to Texas, where all my friends are telling me, hey, come join us in Texas. Maybe it's time to go something like Vegas or somewhere that's better tax-free. And this actually led to my next point. How will I get to my goals? So if you guys were following my Instagram, I actually talked about going to the W, planning out my retreat, planning out my goals. And I have very ambitious goals this year, like things like getting my 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, launching my coaching business, and hitting 23K on this channel and earning 120K in revenue within the next 6 months. But when I was planning these goals, I wasn't planning to move the hell out. And so, not so soon either. And I just started feeling so overwhelmed by like thinking, now I gotta move, I gotta look for a place. And it's just like, man, this really kind of killed my momentum. And no doubt moving out of LA would really affect my friendships and more importantly, my relationships. And here's an insider thing. Like I really want to talk to my former relationship partner and see if we could work things out. But would moving away totally kill it? Since a lot of my friends are based out of LA, yes, I could start over again. But, you know, I really value those friendships and I just love being in the mecca of jiu-jitsu there, like at 10th Planet as well. But then the shift happened for me. Instead of thinking, can I actually hit my goals, to how can I still hit my goals? And the one place that I kind of came out to was Vegas, right? For example, if I lived in with my uncle in a state with no income tax, I'd be saving a lot of money. I could be dumping that money into my YouTube channel and the growth of my other businesses as well. So that's one thing. Second thing is my relationship, right? If I really want to make a relationship work out, I could easily take a flight back to Los Angeles or make the 3-hour drives. Plus I can see my friends. And if the relationship didn't work out, it just shows me that maybe it's the universe telling me like, yo, Kevin, you gotta look for someone else who is ride or die, who kind of fits your narrative and goals at the moment. Then there's the health part. Like I said, one of my goals is to become a 10th Planet purple belt, right? I ideally want to get a black belt from like Eddie Bravo's school, but you know, if it's temporary, maybe go to Las Vegas, and it's a pretty red state, so gyms might be open and all that as well. But most importantly, one of my major goals too this year is to go to, actually next year was to go to Asia. And by packing my stuff, traveling to Asia, I could live that digital nomad life before settling down and I wouldn't have to pay all that rent as well. So that's another thought that was in my head. But also, it led me to a third thing. As all these ideas were streaming through my head, I was like, hey, am I emotionally ready? And not gonna lie, sometimes I just feel like I'm in victim mode, and I ask like, why is all this shit happening to me? Why am I going through like business like ups and downs and the whole health thing with my mom and like all these things in the apartment now? And it's just like, damn, can I just get a break? Sometimes I just feel like that. And I know that's like kind of victim mentality, but that's how I feel. And so whether you believe in God, universe, or a higher power, sometimes I just have to trust that anything that is coming my way is like working for me, not against me. Even though it might not be the way that I imagined it, maybe this is what's best for me at the moment. Maybe I'm meant to go to Las Vegas to meet someone or open up a certain opportunity, or maybe that the relationship isn't for me and a message, you know? I think part of everything too, more recently, I've just been realizing I just need to let go of everything I don't have control over, surrender into that feeling, and just hyper focus on what I do have control over as well. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think I'm ever ready for all these changes, but I know I'm smart enough to figure everything out that comes my way. And even if I leave California and I ever want to come back, like it can always be temporary too. Nothing's forever. And maybe I'm just meant to go through these struggles in my life so that I can tell more kick-ass stories like this of vulnerability of what I'm actually going through as well. So not gonna lie, I kind of don't really want to leave California, but I think, again, I try to think about the opportunities of leaving California too. No lie, sometimes I feel like I'm that 25-year-old Kevin trying to come over to LA again, but maybe it's time to pick up my bags and and begin the next chapter of my life. Plus, no state income tax in Texas and Vegas as well. So those are perks. So what are your thoughts? Are you considering leaving California yourself? What are some of the reasons that you're considering? Chances are, if you like this video, then you'll probably like this video on how I'm investing into myself in terms of relationships, health, and my finances as well. I actually have a video in the cards with that as well. Or if you're like me, you're going through a lot of changes, maybe you're going through a breakup, maybe as an Asian American, you'll probably relate to this video that I recently shot. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stay kick-ass, stay bold, take care, peace.
Looking like trash, can't get with the deadbeat ass. So, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you mine. And no, I don't want to meet you nowhere. No.